Boxing coming at you now. Straight to it, y'all see it. Vergil Ortiz is set to finally make his long-time return to the sport of boxing in January 6th of 2024. Now, these sources are coming from Chava from ESPN, and it appears that he got his sources and his information from Eric Gomez from Golden Boy Promotions. Now, Virgil, he hasn't posted anything on his Instagram or his Twitter saying that he's coming back on January 6th. Neither has Oscar de la Hoya on his Instagram or Twitter. But the fact of the matter is that this is coming from, Chop ESPN, and he got his information from Eric Gomez, which Eric Gomez tends to, kind of settle, down low. He doesn't really go on social media too often. And on top of that, Golden Boy, the Golden Boy himself, Oscar de la Hoya, he said that, he was working on a return for Virgil on early or late December. And if that couldn't happen, you can expect something early January. So this is more than likely legit news, real news. So, we can definitely see Virgil coming back early next year. Now, the good thing about this news is that he's coming back to 154. And obviously, the good news behind that is the fact that one, he was killing himself to make 147, dealing with a bunch of health issues. And the other good part about it is the fact that 154 is a super stacked division, and it's only going to get even better because of the fact of the matter is, the big names from 147, they're almost all, leaving and going to 154. But with that, the question lies: who is Virgil gonna face? Who is he gonna face in his return? Who is he gonna fight? And he's been out of the ring for almost 2 years. By the time he fights, January's gonna be 22 months exactly. And obviously, when you think of Virgil at 154, you're thinking of some crazy fights. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm thinking about Virgil versus Fundora. That's an explosive fight. I'm thinking Virgil versus Lubin. I'm thinking Virgil versus Jermel versus Errol Spence. Jesus Ramos. All those fights right there, are crazy, crazy good fights. But realistically speaking, if you know boxing, you know that Virgil's not gonna have any of those fights anytime soon. And the reason why I say this is because, for one, like I said, he's been out of the ring for 22 months. They're not gonna give him, a top contender, a top dog at 154. He's gonna need a tuna. His whole team, his whole promotion, they're gonna advise him to take it, and he's gonna listen. He's always listened throughout his career. He hasn't been, that type of fighter like Ryan, who's over there and Golden Boy's neck, Oscar's neck, saying, "Give me, Gervonta, give me this, give me that." He listens. So he's gonna take a tune-up. You can expect that. Obviously, that's a no-brainer. Number two, he's coming back from a serious illness. He had rhabdom. It's rhabdomyolysis. It's a hard thing to pronounce, but short term for rhabdom. I'm not gonna go into detail as to what it is, but you look into it, you can see that it's some serious, condition that affects your kidneys, your muscles. It's a pretty bad condition. On top of that, apparently he had multiple cases of COVID, which obviously COVID affects your lungs, and having it in multiple cases, you can obviously think that it affects his conditioning in some type of way. So they're gonna want to test the waters with him, kind of more than likely with, like I said, a tune-up type of fighter. And number three, he is going to 154 for the first time. He was coming off at 147. Before that, he actually made his debut at 140. So, he's grown a lot in, the last few years. But the fact is that, it's his first time at 154. He's going to have to test the waters out. They're not going to put him with the heavy puncher. They're not going to put him with the dangerous fighter. They're going to put him somebody that, he could probably take their punch. It's not going to hurt him. Somebody kind of like that he could, a beatable fighter more than likely. And the fourth reason is, he's a Golden Boy fighter. If you know boxing, the Golden Boy likes to protect their fighters. They like to overbuild the records before they give them, throw them with the champion. They like to make them go, 40-0 before they throw them with the champ. That's just how Golden Boy moves. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So because of those four conditions, you can expect Virgil not to have any, good competition anytime soon. But with that being said, the question lies: who is he gonna face? And I kind of thought about it, and I come to a conclusion that there's still some good names out there that will make great fights for him in his return that aren't necessarily speaking too much of a dangerous fight for him. First fighter that came to my mind was Joey Spencer. Joey Spencer, was a 2019 Prospect of the Year for PBC. He was a great fighter. He still is a great fighter. One loss doesn't make you a bad fighter, but he did come off a loss with Jesus Ramos. But before that, he was one of the guys that was expected to be, a world champion at 154, big threat. He's a top contender. But I feel like, the fact that he also hasn't fought almost in a year, and the fact of the matter is, like I said, he's still a great fighter. Vergil Ortiz, his style, versus Joey Spencer. I think it would make a great fight, and I think it'd be a good comeback fight, not just for Virgil, but for both of them actually. And I feel like that would be just like the perfect test. If not Joey Spencer, I also feel that Tony Harrison would be a great test for him. Vergil Ortiz, like he's a very relentless fighter. He keeps his hands up, chin down. He doesn't mind, biting down the mouthpiece and just, throwing down. And Tony Harrison, he's a very slick fighter. So stylistically, it'd be a good test for Virgil. But Tony Harrison, former world champion, he's been in there with the best fighters at 154, which I'm talking about Jermel and Tim Tszyu. And because of that, he carries a lot of experience, makes him dangerous. But he is a beatable fighter. He has been knocked out. We don't know if he's the same fighter after those knockouts that he suffered. So I'm not saying he's damaged goods, but realistically speaking, I'm saying he won't be that Tony Harrison that we saw from the first fight in Jermel. So I feel like that would be a good fight for Virgil. If you can't get Tony Harrison, I think that also Dennis Hogan would be a good fight, comeback fight for Virgil. Why Dennis Hogan? Because that's another fighter that's been in with the best, fighters. Carries a lot of experience. He's a solid 154 pounder in terms of power, weight, skills, all around good fighter. And for those of you that remember, a lot of people believe that he actually won the fight against Munguia. They feel that that was a robbery. I saw the fight. I feel that Dennis Hogan actually pulled it off. If I'm being honest, if you look at what boxing is, he outboxed him. But obviously Munguia being the A side, they're gonna give it to him. But back to Virgil now. So yeah, man, those are my three fights that I want to see. Virgil more than likely. If he's gonna get a tune-up, make it those three guys. And besides that, like I said, man, it's good to see Virgil coming back. Hopefully, everything works out because some people were actually saying that he should retire. That the things he was going through were serious, and that some things are bigger than boxing. And obviously, your health that's bigger than boxing. If you don't got health, you can't box, and that's why he's been out of the ring for so long. So we gotta wait and see, what happens to him, how he looks. Is he gonna be the same Virgil? All this and that. But with that being said, I'm done right now. I just want to hear from you guys and your guys' opinion. What do you guys think? Who should Virgil fight? What fights are you guys looking forward to once he's already settled in as a 154 pounder? And besides that, thank you for tuning in. I'm out. Bye.